Go ahead.
Commissioner Martin.
Well, where's Brody too?
She's on a conference call. You ready? You know me, I like starting early. I start on time, excuse me. I want to welcome everybody to the, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. January, I'm going to do it right, 17th, 2023 meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If I could, get approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
I have. Commissioner Kitchen, would you do the honors?
I sure will, Chairman. Y'all will. Bow your heads with us. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all the blessings you give us. We thank you for watching over us and loving us the way you do. We especially thank you for all those that put their life on the line, that serve our community, the law enforcement, the first responders, military, past and present. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come here tonight, make decisions for this county. And we ask that you watch over this meeting, make sure that you guide our hearts and our minds in all of our decisions, and everything we say and do is pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Kitchen.
Yes, sir.
All right, we move on tonight. We've got a reappointment on a board tonight. Reappointing Sunset Harris to the Planning and Zoning Appeals and Adjustment for a 5-year period.
Motion to reappoint Sunset Harris to the P&Z Board for a period of 5 years.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. All right, we move on to consent agenda and approval of minutes. We had a work session on January 3rd, along with the first Tuesday, January 3rd, and an executive session, along with a work session on January 10th. Y'all have had opportunity to review the minutes. Everything looks fine. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, Chairman, with the changes that Shannon knows about. She's got them.
Okay. You got the changes? Okay. That's with the changes, huh? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Let's have it. All right. We work on to CHIP agreement, Middle Georgia Regional Commission. Who's doing that tonight?
I thought Greg Boyke or someone from the Regional Commission was going to be here, but
You got thrown under the bus tonight.
that's fine. So this is a memorandum of agreement between this board and the Middle Georgia Regional Commission for the CHIP grant application and administration if awarded. So I think it was a meeting, I wasn't here, Mr. Chairman, but the board approved a housing study in the Haddock area. And so data from that study would be used to compile the application for this grant. And so so something new in CHIP now, there is a fee for, as I recall, they used to give you money for the administration. And so you could hire someone like the Regional Commission to administer these, or a consultant, and you would receive money as part of the grant to pay for that. Now we would have to come out of pocket for that. And so there on page 3, it says the county agrees to pay $15,000 to MGRC for the scope of services outlined in this agreement. So just wanted you all to be aware that there would be a fee associated with that. Other than that, I think it's pretty standard, and I would ask for the board's approval of the agreement.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion, we have a second.
Second, we do have a quick question. I know you talked about Haddock, and initially we talked about Jones and South. South Jones and Haddock. Is Haddock just the study part of it?
So I think there were a number of areas around the county that may be potential CHIP locations. I think at some point during all this, we kind of zeroed in on Haddock for CHIP. Now, CDBG, we're still looking at 2 potential areas. One would be the Bradley area, and one would be South Jones for an expansion of that Sun Valley sewer.
So,
is that what you're thinking about, or
nope.
you were thinking CHIP?
CHIP, because the last, I think, discussion that we had, I was actually on the phone, and I motioned that it would include Haddock and South Jones.
I was thinking the same thing. I thought we'd had 2 areas. There was some discussion about one. I thought there were 3 areas, and one of them was not at
Would
the level
qualify.
that would qualify for it, and I
I
didn't know.
I think those were the three. The three were Haddock, Bradley, and South Jones.
And Bradley wouldn't qualify.
And Bradley wouldn't qualify.
For the
Okay.
housing.
And so then, I'm wondering if it's because that's where the focus was at on the last chip, with South
Okay.
Jones.
I think that was the only group that maybe have met it. I don't remember, but I know that was my initial motion. Then John actually had to make the motion, so it was for both areas.
Okay. I can talk with Greg
Okay.
and cover that at the next meeting if that's okay.
Okay.
Should we,
Okay.
should we hold off on this one to
post-
amend the agreement if needed?
All right, well, I
That'd be
need
good.
you to amend your motion.
Motion,
Well, I made the motion.
Oh, excuse me, I'm getting it backwards, that's right.
Okay. I'm going to amend the motion to postpone the
Till the next
CDBG till the next meeting.
All right. And who
Second.
seconded?
second.
Second. All right, no more discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Water projects, I got three now. Who wants to handle it?
It is, we had some folks come forward since Sand Creek Trail was started, requesting water in their neighborhood. Hardy Road, up off 18, McKenzie Drive, over off Upper River Road, and Candler, Reagan, and Etheridge Place was a project we had started back when Gray Highway was being done, and we never went in there. So tonight, we're asking permission from the board to go forward with the water line from well number 10 to get it connected to the plant. Generators from Haddock's already in the works, and then the project on Hardy Road and the project on McKenzie Drive. Those four projects total 878, 873. We currently have $1,190,135 in the new construction account, so that's gonna leave us $311,000.
Where's Hardy at?
Hardy is Gregory.
Oh, okay, next one from.
Yeah, it's in the bottom,
I know what you're talking
and then
about.
Gregory's the next one, and then
Yeah. That's the one where we clip shoulders all the time, isn't it?
So just out of curiosity, from those 1, 2, 3 areas, what is our target or estimated number of customers?
well, Hardy's probably got 7 houses on it. McKenzie's probably got 6 or 7.
11 on
Really?
Hardy. McKenzie,
8.
that's 7,
So,
and then Reagan and the other one, which is the larger one. has-
That's probably got 35, 40.
Tim, is your microphone on?
Now it is.
All right.
It has about 35 or 40. That's 32.
What I have heard from those two streets, Hardy and McKenzie, and that entire area, those are the only 2 streets that do not have water, the county water down there.
That's out the Upper River Road area.
Yeah.
When that was run, everything else was covered but those 2 roads, and they have been blowing up his phone.
And mine on Howard Roberts as well. So, do we know how many are on Howard Roberts?
No,
That's a lot of miles right through there.
that's a long way.
That's a long way.
So does this do anything other than service? Does it connect any loops?
No, these are dead ends that were bypassed when the main lines were put in.
So, just
1.2 million for 7-Eleven, 47
No, you're looking at 240 and 214.
plus 803.
so
Well, the 803,
240.
we had just set it to the side right now.
How many
Oh.
people were on Hardy Drive?
11. 7 and 40.
$22,000 a customer. Divided by.
So Brandon, you don't have any more projects that,
That's 872 months. Payback.
I want everybody to have water, but I know y'all presented a bunch of projects. in the grand scheme of things, is this real high compared to what you got coming up?
Other than the phone calls that I receive quite frequently from, especially the McKenzie and the Hardy.
I'm on 49, where some people don't have any water and haven't had it for.
But that's already accounted for, right?
Well, this, it's
Not all
the,
of them.
It's
this,
already going down.
this is a different funding source is all we're looking at.
Oh, sorry.
Are we going there?
I'm trying to check miles.
Different funding source?
Yes. The second level area, the pink and the purple, those are the projects that are funded through the PFA and the ARPA money that the county received. The Henderson plant, Masseyville second well, the North Light and Tie tank will come out of ARPA money. And then the other projects that were in the list was Grizzleville, 49, Graham, and the rest of the Henderson plant, which is about 1.965 million that has not been allocated to anything.
And how much out of the construction account is for these projects?
The one on well 10, the total, we had estimated 437, but that was included a new aerator for Henderson Road.
Okay.
317 without it. And then the 105 generators for Haddock has already been bid, and those are ordered, and that's coming.
So Hardy Road and McKenzie are definitely coming out of the construction.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are the two.
But Candler, Reagan, and Etheridge, they're having problems there.
I personally have not heard anybody
I
down
mean,
there.
I just had a house there and had checked the well, and it was great. So I mean, it's at the back end of Roberts.
On those roads,
That was
since I've been hearing.
the pipe that ran from Haddock to Baldwin County was bought for those three roads. It was never put in by the county.
I mean,
So it ended up going Haddock to Baldwin County.
I just wondered if we're having issues. 'Cause like I said, I just literally just had a well checked over there, and it was doing well.
Yeah, I think we got a couple of issues, in my opinion, Chairman. We got things that were not done in the past that to me, didn't really make sense. I mean, you ran from here to here, and you connect this road, and this road, but you didn't connect this road and this road. Off of that main line, things that didn't get done, or things that were promised and didn't get done. And now, rightfully so, you got people that are requesting why, this should have been done. Everybody else around me got it. That's a legitimate complaint, but, we got to have a holistic plan to get there and not do a bunch of one-offs, because I don't want it to get into, well, I've gotten a lot of phone calls, or I got a request to do this, because I get a lot of phone calls too. And we've got areas we know of that are out of water or getting to where they're having issues, and when you start seeing one well go dry and then half a mile away another well goes dry, we can't help but think the same thing that happened on Sand Creek. We can't help but think we're starting to have either a table water problem or an aquifer problem, where we're not able to get the water out of the ground. And if we do a lot of one-offs, we're gonna be in trouble with that. I think we need to look and see, are there any other roads on the line that came out River North, went down, Curtis James, back out? Are there any other roads that we missed?
McKenzie
Down
and
through
Hardy.
there.
Those
That's
are
the only two
Those are the
that-
only two. And the rest are Howard Roberts.
So, I mean, part of me says I agree that it should have been done when that project was done. I don't know why they weren't, but.
And I don't know either, because I don't remember how long ago that project was done, but I know a lot of times people, when they're offered water and that water tap fee comes up, they're like, I don't want to pay that fee, right? $1,500 or whatever it is now. So, and then that whole street says, we don't want to pay. But I don't know, because I don't remember how that road was or wasn't done.
Those weren't done. Freddie actually went back, the board approved Freddie to go back and do Gregory at a later time, which he did.
Okay.
And I think, from what I've been told and what I've seen, the calls from Hardy have been generated more because the road next to them got water and they didn't.
Not because we got a well issue and we're running dry.
That I don't know. I can't tell you one way or the other.
Water.
Okay.
I would hate to see us spend the money and then gain
2
one or two
customers.
customers, and you're never going to recoup your funds.
Yeah. And I don't,
I think there needs to be earmarked for, not that they would like to have water. We just got a lot of people, like we're talking about, in your district that don't have water. And that's the ones I'd like to see earmarked over somebody that just says, my well's fine, but y'all don't run a water line down Mountain Road.
Well, I think, I agree with that, but I think we need to have a plan, because if we go by that theory and we start looking at number of customers or priority level of no water needs first. Second, we're gonna start looking at populated areas, because we're getting the best bang for our buck. Then that means people that got left over 5 years ago or 10 years ago when they did the project are gonna get left over until the bottom of the barrel. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
it is a tough one, Sam, and I can tell you, having sat here for a little while, the people without water ring real high
Yeah.
for me. Anybody that's picking water up in the truck, delivering it to neighbors or themselves, one flush, one wash a day. The people who are in a high demand area, because we can get our money back because the water department does not have an infinite amount of money. Bang for the buck, because we have looked at density in terms of projects and being able to serve people. And then, of course, the promise of water. And I don't want to sound weird or anything, but if we promise water and we need to get it out there, that's one thing, as opposed to that street has water, I want it on my street, to John's point. But if there was a commitment where everybody says, yeah,
Right.
we're all going to sign up, and here's our fee, let's go.
Yeah, that was the second thing I was gonna say. I think we need to factor that into the equation of if we've got 10 people on the road and all 10 of them say, sign me up the day you
Yep.
get it on here, then that's a win-win, because we got all those customers. But I also look at the funding source. We're doing we know we'll never have money in our construction account to do a $2 million project. We'll never be able to do a Chapman Road project like that. So I think these are good for the one-offs, the $100,000, $200,000 projects that we can do. But I think we need, just like our roads list, we got to have some priority system to check him off, and
And to your point, having a plan, and Brendan, I don't want to throw anybody off the bus or under the bus, but if there are other areas that also have a water need, we know their wells are going dry, I'd like to see that. I'd like to have a work session to put what Sam suggested into play, where we have a strategy to go after these projects, especially if we got $1.2 million-ish to spend. Let's focus it kind of like we do LMIG, right, on places that need it. No water. Places that want it, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to pay my fee, and other places that the big projects don't get to.
Well, there may be other areas of the county that have issues, but we're limited because of where we have infrastructure.
Yeah.
So if we're not close to infrastructure, we're not going to get them.
That's a very good point.
The only project on here, the well, number 10 water main, we need that. We've got a well sitting there. It's not connected to anything.
I'm not even questioning the well. We know we need water.
well, generators.
The generators I had,
It's already appropriated.
we're waiting for them to come.
Right.
We've got some of them here, some of that equipment's here. And the last of the generators may have come.
Yeah, I think they're, should be installing those, I heard this week, maybe next week. On the generator.
So, Chairman, at a minimum for Hardy and McKenzie, can we do, maybe even do something like we do the roads list, and get a petition up of how many people on that road, or if they're all wanting it, if we can get 100% of them, that would make a difference. But
See what the commitment level is.
Yep,
yeah,
I agree.
because right now, we got to look at it from a monetary value. Right now, we're looking at a $22,000 per household cost to the county to get them water, and that is, if you're looking at $25 a month, that's 870 months. That's, nobody in business would do that deal, just bottom line. But if we guaranteed every customer on that road, then it might be worthwhile that we're going to do that. So, and I say that hesitantly because it's my district, and and I'm supposed to fight for my district. So, but that's just the bottom truth, and the bottom line it's not it's not financially feasible to do that unless we have a commitment from everybody.
Well, I'll tell you something I suggest, and Leslie may shoot me for this, but years ago, Butts County sent a letter out to all the areas they were trying to serve. We're trying to decide if we're coming down your road, let us know if you'll tap on and pay the fee. And they worked off that list 15 years.
It's not a bad
If you
idea.
didn't make if your road didn't turn
Just
out, you didn't get water. They
Like-
went right past you. And they did not deviate off the list. When it was set and everything was tallied, they did not deviate off the list. And it takes a little while to do all that, but, everybody speaks their piece and says, yeah, we'll do it, or no, we won't.
Yeah, I think for those two, that's a good plan to get with them and see how many people on the road actually want it, because I don't know if 2 of 10 are calling continuously saying we really, really want it, or
And then I just counted up right quick. It's 5 miles for Howard Roberts, 5 miles, and 57 homes on that 5 miles.
Is that true, Tim?
Hmm?
Is that right? Is there accurate? Is there?
Huh?
And then a potential school site eventually on that.
We don't want to talk about that. We don't want the school out there.
Well, at this one, I'm going to motion to approve funding for the well number 10 and the generators for Haddock, and give us the opportunity to study Hardy Road and Mackenzie Drive.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion?
Tim looked like he was about to say something.
Well, what we're seeing on Sand Creek Trail, at 9,000 feet, we were at 1.1 million, 1.2 million. So at 5 miles, we're at 25,000 feet, so we're at 4.5 million, $4 million bucks, 3.5, 3.6, 3.6 million.
Do we know what the tap-on rate at Sand Creek was? I know there's 4 or 5 that was 1,000%.
I think there's a dozen. No, I'm sorry. There's, we set 26 meters,
Out of 70,
60, 62, about a
so
third.
30%, 33%.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's about 30.
That's I don't know how far it goes. It goes, some of it's
Any more discussion on that?
1,000 feet down Howard Roberts,
Yeah, maybe two.
2,000.
Any more?
No, sir, I'm sorry.
All right, if there's no more discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
You want to oppose? Ayes have it. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Appreciate it.
Mr. President, we're declaring some health department items surplus.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and this is just part of the renovation project there at the Health Department. There's some items that they won't be taking with them to the new, or won't be reusing once the building is renovated. And so we're just asking the board to declare those items surplus so that we can auction them off.
I make a motion to surplus the health department's items.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Uh,
Ayes have it. All right, thank you. Animal Services Surgery Suite budget, what do we?
So, and Jennifer, you might want to talk about this, or I'll kind of hit the high points, and Jennifer can answer the hard questions. So, at our, we for some time now have been having animals spayed or neutered before they go out for adoption. It's been working great. Dr. Gadd's been working closely with us on that. There are a few upgrades that are needed in our surgery suite there at the animal shelter, to the tune of about $9,000 or $10,000. We met with Levita, talked with her. There's some remaining money in contingency that could be used for that. And so we're just here tonight asking for the board to approve transferring money from contingency to the animal services budget for upgrades to that surgical suite.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None. All in favor, aye? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
July 4th business meeting falls on the 4th.
Yeah, our first Tuesday meeting in July falls on a holiday, so I need for y'all to formally cancel it.
I make a motion to formally cancel our July 4th business meeting.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on that?
We've got fireworks.
All in favor, aye?
I plan to be on a ship somewhere.
Miss Brody, we got Kingsview Village drainage.
That needs to be postponed.
Motion to postpone Kingsview Village drainage, Chairman.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Let's have it. All right. Holiday and inclement weather pay. We can get to some discussion on our, we had a discussion at the work session. I'd like to continue that on what the board's wishes are to take care of these men and women that give up their holiday, and so that we could all enjoy some water. You got an idea?
Well, my idea is to make sure that anybody that has to work on a holiday for an emergency situation be paid at time and a half at a minimum. But I would like for our attorney to tell us what we can legally do.
Well, I will say this, it's my understanding, Levita's getting a lot of flack about the fact that the same deductions that come out of every other paycheck legally have to apply to this pay as well. It's entered as additional pay, but the same taxes and, you know, how many dependents that you've signed up for, the employee signs up for all of that, how many dependents they want to claim, and it determines their payroll taxes. That will come out of this pay. And that's not her fault. I mean, it has to be done that way. So,
And I don't think that's on us. I mean, being honest, I think to me, I want to see us do the right thing by the employee. So if they got one dependent or 20 dependents, we don't factor that into our pay scale anyway.
it just needs
So
to be
it's-
clear
yeah.
that it's going to be, you know, it's not some untaxed amount. It has to be taxed like any other payroll.
And I was going to say, and to be clear, it's for non-salaried employees, correct?
For salary employees. It's for salary.
It's
I
for-
mean, non-salary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm making sure we're
Hourly
clear.
employees,
Hourly employees, right.
All right, we got a motion for, you want to clarify your motion one more time?
Well, I guess, so, for the attorney, do we need to make that as part of the policy?
That would be a,
I mean, is this something that you all are going to want to consider in the future, or is this a complete one-off?
Well, I think it's,
I don't want you all to start changing policy on every one-off.
Right.
So,
All right, my question is this, if it's time and a half and it falls like
it's
it.
not time and a half. It's not
It
going to
would
be
be
paid as time and a
equal
half.
to.
Okay. Because that's what I was wanting to make clarify, because I didn't want it to fall like
It's
it did
not
this
going to
past
be
time.
entered as additional hours that takes them to time and a half. There's an area where you can enter just additional pay. It's still taxed, but it
Right.
does not increase their hours to where it's like time and a half.
so what we're saying is holiday pay.
Emergency
equivalent-
holiday pay.
Equivalent to 1.5 times that employee's salary for the hours worked in an emergency situation on the holiday.
Well, you're not making that. I mean, I don't know who drafted this, but
Shannon was
Okay.
just, gives a, something to look at.
so this is very subjective. I mean, who determines what an emergency is? Right? So if you're going to make a policy that just says, oh, well, an emergency, here's going to be our new policy, and you have no one that oversees that,
It was
I mean-
emergency and holiday. That was the issue, because the two were connected.
Right, but if you don't say, like this policy does say that you all will determine on a case-by-case basis, not just as an automatic,
Yeah. That's the skeleton for us to operate off of,
Right.
right? Okay. So I heard emergency and holiday, right? that
because
was
you
the
all are
issue.
going to have to evaluate every time you think it's an emergency during a holiday, of whether or not it would qualify or should qualify for the additional pay.
I don't have a problem
Because
with
you've got
that.
to determine,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that because the governor says state of emergency, right?
Right.
And that becomes our issue here, right?
That's the
Water
first
was,
keystroke.
what was that?
That's the first keystroke.
Yeah, water is a definite state of emergency for Jones County, right? A hole in the road, that's a little different than the road being washed out, right? Because John had to do that big repair. I don't have a problem with us making that call at that time. And I think I'm going to trust my department head to make a call on that when he calls a crew of 5 to run the grader, make sure that the water's running, right? I'm going to trust that.
Right.
so as far as this proposed policy, I think this is fine, although it needs to be made clear. Well, it says the right to pay hourly employees, so that's
I don't
already
have
in
one.
there. It needs to be made clear that they're going to be the same payroll deductions like any other paycheck they would get.
Okay.
And then you can adopt the policy. And then on a case by case, you can vote as far as what the pay would be. Like you would adopt the policy, and then you would have a motion to say, okay, we just experienced, is this going to be retroactive?
For that event, yes.
Okay. So you all would then make a motion that for that event, whoever qualifies under this policy, what is it that you want to pay them this time? Do you get what I'm saying? The time and a half, equivalent to time and a half. Although it's not going to be entered as time and a half as far as hours. But whatever the pay would be equivalent to that. Minus their payroll taxes and things. But then each time, I mean, it could be that same pay each time, but I wouldn't put this is what we're determining the pay will be. I mean, your policy says you all will determine that on a case-by-case scenario.
Do we need to even amend the policy or just go, I mean,
It seems like we gotta do,
In addition to the.
it's addition, you're right.
Right.
I originally said that I thought we should do just a one-off because it doesn't happen that often. But then I heard, well, no, we need to change the policy or we need to put it into the policy. But it sounds like even if we adapt the policy to it or
We
amend the
still gotta
policy,
vote on it.
you still
It
gotta
still
vote on
needs
what
to
an
come,
emergency
yes,
is.
yeah.
So I'm okay with it being a standardized equivalent to 1.5 for hours worked in the event of an emergency on a holiday. And then we determine what an emergency is. But if we're gonna do that, then we're right back to, don't change the policy. Let's just this time make a motion to pay the folks that worked under this emergency event at Christmas, whoever worked, an equivalent to a time and a half of their salary for hours worked, and be done with it.
But we got to help
Hourly
Levita,
employees.
but we got to help Levita and Shannon so they're not bombarded. And for the record, employees that are listening, y'all shouldn't call Levita and Shannon when there's an issue. You start with your department head and let your department head make that. That's chain of command, right? And if it's in the policy, we need to read the handbook, folks, so we understand it. And that's why it has to go, we have to make a policy decision, so it's a part of the handbook. So it's not guessing, and it's not he say, she say, because by the time I left the Public Works Department to the Water Department, to us, it was something different. And that's why we don't want to give them a headache or a heart attack over it. Let's make the policy, and then we vote on it in the case of emergency. We thank God there's only a couple of these holidays that fall on those days that this could possibly happen.
But we need to include, I mean, in this policy, it needs to be included with, because I think, Brandon, correct me, didn't you have some public works came in, had to close the road for you that night, so we don't need.
That's a part of it, right?
That's
It's
right,
generic,
that's what I'm
yeah.
saying, so we did, you know,
Yeah, that's generic. It's not,
Have y'all read this?
no,
no, you're
Okay.
first.
go ahead and read them
So
again.
this says, addendum to inclement weather policy. The Jones County Board of Commissioners has the right to pay hourly employees extra pay or a bonus for work that is done during a holiday along with a severe weather event. The amount will be determined by the Board of Commissioners and will be given on a case-by-case scenario. Department head should report any time worked during a holiday and severe weather event to the county administrator. The county administrator will present the information to the board for determination of pay.
I think it's missing one line that says that the emergency event will be authorized, right? Because will we know in advance that there's one of those issues happening?
We'll know at the next meeting.
Well, I think you vote after the fact.
Yeah, after the
Okay.
fact.
And the only reason why I say that is because if I went out there thinking, hey, it's an emergency and I got time, hour and a half, whatever it is, and then we say it's not, then you got another issue.
This is
Then you're back to our regular policy
Okay.
of how they did get paid this time.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that policy. Do we need to add a line that says, subject to all applicable
Yes.
federal,
Appropriate taxes.
If not, your finance department's going to get flack about why taxes were taken out.
Right.
So we need to table that for the next meeting to,
No.
are you good? Okay.
Just
Make
make
a
your
motion.
motion to approve this with that stipulation.
To approve the suggested amendment to the policy with the stipulation that all applicable taxes and payroll deductions apply.
Second.
Second, any more discussion?
And retroactive based on the latest weather event at
At
Christmas.
the rate
Second.
of,
1.5 times, 1.5 times the employee's
But
salary.
1.5 times is not going to be part of the policy, right? You're going to
so this is
determine,
a case by case.
right.
Or do we need to do a separate
I-
motion? Okay.
I
Motion
will-
to amend the policy, Chairman.
Second.
Second, any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
And
Now-
now, make a motion that we deem the weather event during Christmas holiday an emergency and agree to pay all employees that work during that event 1.5 times their pay.
Second.
Second, any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All ayes have it.
And Shannon, I'll just get with you to make sure the language is
All right.
how we need to go.
Anything else on the inclement weather? Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Come on, talk to us.
Sorry,
I'm
yes,
gonna
sir.
go to department heads and you, I know you've been patiently waiting.
Hey, like I say, last meeting I didn't get a chance to talk. Granddaughter came home from Augusta College, and like I said, nothing personal, but
You bailed out of here on
yeah,
us. We were
I
looking
did.
for you.
I hadn't seen her in so a while, so yes. A couple of quick things. Like I say, as everyone knows, 2022 was a good year for the city. We had new businesses open. We had new single-family houses being built. So all that results in increased revenue. And anytime, we have increased revenue in the city, it's a ripple effect, and the county benefits from the same thing. I'd like to thank Jason Stark and his crew during the December winter freeze 22 for all their help and cooperation. And like I said, we didn't suffer near as bad as the county, of course, but we had our moments. So thank you, Jason and county. Also like to thank the county for approving the playground equipment for the library. I'm a trustee on the library board, and of course, the library's in the city, and it's a valuable asset to our city. So thank you all for that. Go to 2023. Like I say, we got new businesses open. We got couples open since the first of the year, and we should have at least 2 more by the spring if I hadn't been lied to. So continued increases. We have received 1 or 2 phone calls, just phone call inquiries, of course, about multifamily housing, but we haven't got to a point of anybody asking for a sit down yet. So but right now we have a moratorium, so I guess they're waiting to see. We're waiting on the wastewater treatment plant to do it. But like I say, 2022 was a great year. I think that the city and county had a great relationship during it, and look forward to a good continued working relationship in 2023. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'm gonna do it backwards. Anybody, nothing here? I'm not gonna forget you, Jason. I'm gonna let you go third. Ladies first, you're third.
I've got one item, Mr. Chairman. So construction is underway on the mountain bike track down at Matty Wells. That's going really well. They're about 2 weeks into it now, and total construction time there is about 6 weeks, and so it's moving right along. One thing that they've brought to us recently, so we had as a budget line item there chipping, and as they got to work, it became evident that the that was not going to be necessary. There was enough clear area to do the trail without that. And they had penciled in about $16,000 for that. They have asked us if we would be interested in doing a pump track there, a dirt pump track on the site. While they're here, they could do it. They said the $16,000 that we're saving on the chipping would be enough to cover that. And so I know we can't vote on that tonight, but just wanted to get some guidance from the board on whether you're interested in that or not. We would, I think, probably have to do some fencing along with that. And then the other thing that we have to address there at some point is parking. And I don't think the $16,000 would go far at all on parking. So that may be something that we have to do from another funding source. But just thoughts generally on adding a pump track to the facility there.
Yes. In the original plan, I know we had included pump track, but the original quotes that came back were much higher. The idea that we can get one for 16 grand is great. They normally cost double or triple that. So I hope that we can use the CHIP funds that are the funds that were in there for CHIP for the pump track, and I'd be excited to have it out there.
So do they have any idea of where it'll be, like inside the?
Normally up front, but
That's correct. So on the
just
design that we have, it was shown kind of, if you're looking from Highway 49, you've got the gym, you've got the 3 basketball courts, and it was shown kind of to the right of the 3 basketball
Exactly what I
courts.
was thinking.
It's
So, yeah.
bumps.
and for the audience, anybody here ever watch dirt bike racing? Yeah, pump track looks like that. It's just smaller for bikes. But anyways, with tabletops and all the other good stuff
Yeah.
for our
Just a lot of
kids.
bumps.
A lot of bumps. Some berms. Yeah. Next agenda, please.
You most,
He said we couldn't motion on
Can't
it.
motion.
that's right.
Next meeting, next meeting. Yep.
That's all I have.
Miss Jennifer.
All of our kennel doors have been installed and they look fabulous. Anyone's in the area and wants to come down and take a look at them, you're more than welcome. Our dogs love them too.
I still want you to reach out to the art group at the high school.
So you wanted me to?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
Because I think that would be cute, have little murals in each one of the little kennels.
Concrete block.
I will say, that we applied for a grant through the, Atlanta Humane Society, and my, hopes is that if we get selected, we're wanting to install some soundboards on the walls, the sound barriers to cut down on a lot of the noise, so fingers crossed if we get selected for that.
Unless you're a neighbor, right?
Sounds good.
But we certainly appreciate the ability to get these doors because they look fabulous.
That's great. Yep. Don, you got a young man to brag upon. We talked about it, and I got a nice message from a young lady about Darius Patterson.
Yes, sir.
Said she had a flat tire at the fire department, and he jumped into action and got her going.
That he did.
And I like it when I get these messages like this, and said I want to make sure he is recognized.
He's certainly been recognized and put in his master folder, and he's received a nice little gift
That's great.
from our department.
Yep. And he was also your
Firefighter
firefighter.
of the year, he sure was.
Yeah.
He's been with us for 3 or 4 years now. He's a certified police officer. He does a lot of things, but the hours that he works at other places, I don't see where he has time with us. But he's a good worker. Hopefully, I could grab him when we do our full-time folks.
Mhm.
I think that it would be a fine investment for the county.
Mhm.
That's what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Good man.
Yep,
He's
I
down
bet.
in the Haddock area,
Mhm.
and, but he's all over too. He's worked Station 1 49 downtown here, Lott Gray, and good guy. And we got about 70 others just like that, but a lot of times we don't hear it enough. You know. But that was a good call right there. It was something simple. Other than putting out a fire or an emergency, but it was an emergency for that lady when she had a flat tire. So, anyway, I spoke with Fouts Brothers. That's the fire truck builder there in Milledgeville. Talked with them today, asked them what's up with the 23 chassis that are supposed to be coming in. The 2023s have not arrived yet. It's like fleas. You get one here, you get one there. You know, you don't know when you're going to get them. We're getting the first 23 that comes to their place. We're looking now from January. We were supposed to get delivered this month. Now we're looking at an April delivery. So not so bad. We were about the same with Pierce Company down in Florida. So I feel like we're in pretty good shape. I do want to say too, and I know you guys have talked about reserves. Actually got a price on 3 identical units, just what we got a few months ago. And they've gone up right at $90,000 a piece. And they're so backlogged, everybody's trying to get on board to order trucks for the future. The quickest you can get a fire truck, a Class A pumper, is around 28 months now. So if we're thinking about doing something in a couple of years, we might want to think of doing something possibly in the next budget. But then again, it's going to go up a little bit more possibly. We're looking 3% automatic. So anyway, it's something we could look at in the next budget. Because this is going to come around pretty quick. We're already fixing to be in February. Severe weather preparedness week coming up, February the 2nd through the 6th. It's a good time to, make preparations. Monday through Friday of that week, there'll be special blogs, special presentations, special all kinds of things, especially on our website, our Facebook page. Each day will be something different. Like the first Monday will be about where you buy your website stuff at. The next day is we visit thunderstorms or something like that, and it just goes on down all the way to flooding. So we dodged a bullet the other day, and I don't know how we were missed out of all that. I was sitting on the bridge at the bypass, just right out from your house, and that's the best place to look at things coming in from Monroe County and Pitt County. And it was rolling in like an ocean, like you're standing on the ocean. And it was rolling in. Of course, y'all know about tornadoes and how they do this. And it split right just in front of me. One went to the south of me, and one went a little bit north. Of course, one touched down in Jasper County. But there was 7 tornadoes on that one afternoon that took out Meriwether, LaGrange, really took out Spalding, Griffin, Butts County.
Williamson.
Yeah, just a lot of places were hit. And I was going to put something out on our website, our Facebook page, a picture of the paths that they took, the tornadoes took, what grade they were, the whole 9 yards. It shows that it's ironic that it just split right here on us. And I was telling Ben Jones, them buzzards called me while I'm sitting up on the bridge up there, and we were talking live, and I said, it's splitting right in front of me.
We
So-
heard you, Don.
Oh, yeah.
We were watching Ben Jones.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was a dangerous storm, and I'm glad we got through it. That's all I got. Thank y'all. I appreciate the support.
Thank you. Brad?
Thank y'all for the continued support, always. Just started phase 2 of our office renovations at the water department. Anybody wants to come by and check out? I guess wait till the end.
I understand they had a professional in there renovating. Isn't that right?
I saw a little bit of it. It looks good.
It's getting,
Oh, yeah.
slowly but surely, we're all doing it in downtime and
That's
keep
where
it all
all my
in
money's
house.
going, right?
Between us and building maintenance, looks like we're gonna be able to get everything that we wanted for
That's
by,
great.
by doing it all, not contracting out at all.
That's great.
Taking a lot longer because it's an hour here, hour there, whenever we get to it. Also, we have ordered all new water meters throughout the entire county. So we will have some working water meters in the next 2 or 3 months installed. So we'll have a lot more accurate numbers for those reports that y'all receive, and we'll have a lot more accurate volume of what we actually have.
When you say all new, what do you mean by all new?
At the plant.
Every well will have a new
okay.
water meter.
I was with you.
Yeah,
I was thinking,
We just
Hold
hold
on,
on.
that's how Jeffrey had done a bunch of them.
We'll have all new meters, and they'll be hooked up to our SCADA. I can sit right here and see gallons per minute that each well is producing.
Okay.
If it's on, off, totalizer at the end of the day.
We still got plans.
That was,
Yeah.
We still got plans on the meter for, between the city and us that,
that needs to be discussed more so, for sure. You got quotes. Yeah, that needs to be brought back, for sure.
all right. When you said meters, I thought that was one of them. I said, all right, but no.
All of our water-producing water plant meters,
Thank you.
All right.
yes, not residential.
Yeah.
We appreciate your department through this inclement weather and everybody else in Public Works and whoever else was out there on call, because that. Building maintenance, yep, building maintenance. We don't leave anybody out, but, yep, thank y'all. Anybody else? How about citizen comment? Any citizens tonight?
I want to thank the commission and whole. I live on Sand Creek. I've been coming to the meetings for a year and a half. And thank you for the timely manner to get everything approved, to get us water down the road. I'm not totally hooked up right now. I thought I was, but I hooked to the wrong line. It was an old line, so I had to go back and redo it. But I thank the commission, especially Sam, my commissioners, Tim, Brandon, my meter guy here.
Meter guy.
Public Works, whoever was involved in it, thank you so much. I'm trying to get some other people to come, and thank y'all too. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. It's going to be a pleasure to have a good shower.
Yep.
Appreciate
We
you.
appreciate you coming, and we like to have people show up.
I enjoy it. I mean, you learn a lot, and hey, it makes sense to come up and find out what's going on instead of hearing rumors.
Exactly.
You'd be surprised the number of times people have come here with ideas that we hadn't even thought about. And
Oh, yeah.
we wouldn't have known about it had they not come here and offered that. But thank you.
I mean, I come and get firsthand news, and I hear my neighbor telling me different stuff about what they're going to do, and I'm going like,
I was there.
you know,
Yeah.
where are you getting your information from? You know? So, but really, thank you, and hopefully we can get whoever needs it, get them water like we did. 4 of us or 5 of us were out, and it was, it takes time. I work for the government, so I know it doesn't happen overnight. So, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else, citizens tonight?
Thank you, Chair.
Want to go ladies first on commissioner comment?
Lockers, were you able to get with Brandon, not Jason, Brandon? Were you able to get lockers?
I'm not.
You haven't followed, okay. If you want me to, I'll find that out, if those lockers are available. So, yeah, I got it wrote down.
When he did the first thing he left, called me.
Okay,
I could use one too.
okay.
You opened up a file.
Well, no, I mean, I'd rather see them going and
I
being
didn't know
put
that was
to
an
use
They're very
than,
expensive these days.
yes, and I mean, I'll check on that. If not, I know some other connections that possibly has some lockers somewhere.
Condition y'all what size y'all want, but I talked to Joe Evans, the Board of Education Maintenance guy, and I went over there and met him. I was asking if he had any that we could get rid of, and he's got some that are 12 by 12, 14
That are
by
very
14.
small.
They're small cubbies.
I've only got 5 employees, so.
They're kind of,
set
they're
out to be
in a
small.
boys' locker room, so they're kind of beat up. They weren't the size that I needed. I need uniforms and boots and stuff like that, but he has those available. And I actually got a picture of them, so I'll share with you. And see.
But I'm thinking that there's some other ones that we can possibly,
Those are the ones that he knew about when I met him.
yeah. Don, thank you for the weather updates. I was on a bus during that time trying to make calls, trying to make decisions, and had to do it off the cuff. And because I had no satellite on my phones, I was in an area where it was dead, so I had to. All buses went back to a school. We got all of our kids off buses. And just to piggyback on Griffin, I talked to their transportation director there, and that night they got their last student home at 10:45 that night. But they were safe. I mean, they had 7 buses that were out on routes that they finally got all the kids and the drivers. I mean, he said he had to walk 3 miles down a road to get to a bus that had students on it because they could not get down the road, but they got those students back.
It's still a mess.
We were very lucky. I was watching it come in on satellite and being on a bus perspective of it and having drivers that were calling and saying that I've got debris flying. You know, the only thing I think about is Twister, and we've got cows. So, you know, when you've got that, you know that there's kids on those buses, that's having those sirens going off. And I know that every one of our schools had every kid, that all of our elementary kids had already dismissed at that time. So those buses were rolling. And I just had to make that decision. Either number one, if you still got clear skies, and I knew parts of the county did, get those kids on home off the bus. But then I had some that were driving straight into it, and I told them to detour and go to schools. I mean, I even used our industrial park. I had them hunkering down at the fire station behind the industrial park. So and we had buses in low-lying areas all over the county, and I told them to hunker down until we told them to roll again. So
Thanks for that. I meant to put, and I didn't want to take anything. We had served over 7,000 folks on Code Red that
Yeah.
afternoon. So it was kicking.
it was. And it was just, being able to see it all working together, because I even had Public Works calling to find out if there was anywhere they needed to go. So when you think about what I do as a commissioner and what I do as a transportation director, there's so many times that both of them cross the paths together. And it's great when I see it all work together. So thank y'all for that help. County-wise, I think that I'm glad that we've got this taken care of, and we'll move on from it. Next.
Next. Commissioner Martin?
Excellent. I appreciate you. Just again, thank you to Don as well. I got that message, and I live down a little hill, but I'm happy because I saw some trees snap, and I drive a little low-lying car. But I thought about the bigger picture, the kids getting off the bus and being safe, and that makes a difference to a lot of parents and even faculty and staff that are on the system using it. So again, if you are watching, Code Red is important. Dial in. Real quickly, CHIP grant, for those that are watching, we're not competing for services and resources. What we try and do is identify areas that will best qualify for those free monies that are out there. So I'm not trying to take away from John and his district, and vice versa doesn't happen, because a rising tide makes all ships rise, float. I forget the exact quote. But and our objective is really to do what's best with those limited resources. No different than if we get GFA money for water and sewer projects, we're trying to get it to those areas that will qualify and then help offset taxpayer dollars, right? At the end of the day, that's what we want. So I hope that when we go back to the grant, we're able to identify both of those areas and get it done, and then look at any additional grant projects that are out there. Same thing for water and sewer, find those things that fit. They're 9 times out of 10 are going to fit in our districts more than likely, but it will ultimately benefit the entire county because we're not spending those taxpayer dollars to get there. And the same thing with fire and animal or anything that they can find to help lighten the load, we appreciate it because, again, a rising tide floats all ships. Youth apprenticeship program, we know Macon-Bibb has one that works really well. We know we have some opportunities in Jones County to build something stronger. Youth services kind of falls under one of our old district committees, and I want to revive that so we can tie it into College and Career Academy, but also directly into the county so we can tap into the youth science information and bring our kids into county government a little earlier and even local businesses. So you'll hear a little bit more from me with regard to that. I'm going to reach out to Haley and Laura and Ms. Scott to get some of those things in the work. So if a prospective employer comes, whether it's Burger King or Kia, we have employees in the workforce in place, and at least it's been identified, because once kids log into youth science, we know who's in there, how many have this interest for these particular careers. And I want you as department heads to consider how we introduce young people into our respective areas, whether it's bringing the fire truck out to the school, right? We know that's one of those things that kind of got us all interested, or bringing somebody, some pieces of water equipment, and you got a load of water, and you, even if it's connected to a bucket and you pop the lid and water sprouts out, wow, that's how we got introduced to plumbing. I went to a technical high school, so I got exploratory, so I went through all the shops. I even went through hairdressing. It didn't do much for me, but I went through the class and I learned a little bit about hairdressing. And I just want youth apprenticeship to be able to do that, because we have a lot of employers in this county, big and small, that do some unique things. And I think as a county, we can help introduce and provide some segues for that. Levita was texting me as we were going through that policy, trying to help Shannon not be stressed out about this. It appears we have paid them for the first portion of that, not the half. So the first hour they got paid for, but not the half. So they'll just be working on that portion next. And she just wanted to make sure that that was clear and we got good guidance on it, so they're not overwhelmed by it. And then lastly, when I think about our employees that go out in those particular weather, we often forget sometimes our firefighters are out there. Whatever equipment and things that we need done, bring it up early, because I know it's about time for some of those things to expire, and I'd rather have that on the agenda earlier than later, especially if there's a lead time to get that stuff in. And lastly, Tim, while we didn't necessarily approve these particular water projects, if there's significant lead times and we know we still got to go down there, I'm going to talk with my buddies here and ladies to see, does it make sense to have some of this stuff on tap, so when we do let a project, we have the material, especially if the funding is present for the material cost of it. As long as we can secure it, because I don't want my pipe to be somewhere else on somebody else's project or in another county, because I know there are sometimes challenges there, but we want to be prepared and want to be able to do everything to get people water that need it. So just keep that in mind. And again, thanks for all the good work that everybody's doing.
Thank you. Mr. Wood?
All right. I'll echo what Daylon spoke on about the CHIP and the CBDG grants. I believe, Jason, we are meeting next week at 2 locations in Jones.
Yes, that's correct.
What are those dates and times we can at least get it in the newspaper? I know Debbie's watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Monday and Tuesday, I believe it is, at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. So Monday, the 23rd, we'll have one at Clifton Ridge, and that is to look at potentially expanding sewer kind of out from that Sun Valley area that was done a few years ago. And then on Tuesday, we'll have a meeting here at the Government Center, again from 6 to 8, to look at potential water service in the Bradley area. Both of those will be designed to kind of gauge interest in those projects and to collect whatever information we can related to incomes in that area. So,
All right, thank you. And I'm glad we dodged a bullet here in Jones County because many other areas in the state was not so fortunate. I had a cousin's house hit by a tornado in Troup County, so they were fortunately not injured, but the house was heavy damage. Thank you for our employees. They do a great job, and I'm glad we got through the payroll after the work session the other night. I'm glad we got that ironed out tonight and settled for future. It'll be easier going forward.
Mr. Kidd?
Thank you. I believe I saw some surveyors out at Liberty Park.
Yes.
All right, we got moving on that one too. That's good. Just to clarify, and I think I know what Lavita was talking about on the Saturday and Sunday days. So I want to be real clear that when we pay employees for like Friday and Monday 8 hours, if they work on those days, then it's time and a half for hours worked. They still get their holiday pay that all employees get. Clear about that. And again, I'll echo what everybody said about the inclement weather issues we had with the tornadoes, because as I was locked down as well in a stairwell, I texted my wife, make sure that everything was okay with her, and she said, all good here. The sirens work very well. The dogs think it's a competition. That's what the text I got. But yes, I'm thankful, happy, and proud that we got those in place around the county, because they do work, and you can hear them a long ways away. So that's good.
3 more on the way.
I was supposed to say, when's that one near my house gonna be?
He's back in town, so we got to make a drive this week before the end of the week.
Just don't put it
So
real close to my
one's
house.
going on Old Grizzleville Road. That's going to go up immediately.
Old Grizzleville Road.
That's the fire station.
Okay.
Old Grizzleville Road and 18.
That's all I got, Sherman. Thank you.
All right. Well, if I can get a motion to
I make a
adjourn,
motion
go into
to adjourn to
executive
go in.
session for personnel and real estate.
So
Second.
moved.
All in favor, aye?
There's an alert tonight I just got for the fog, so y'all be careful going home.
It ain't a frog alert, that's for sure. We took care of them.